check that out. Look at that crossfade. Hello there. Thanks so much, Snutbill. Wow, you're here before I am. What a champion. Thanks so much for the gifted sub, my friend. By the way, guys, I totally forgot, but YouTube, I think it's YouTube members and patrons do have access to my members-only chat on Discord, so make sure that your accounts are linked, by the way. I'm sorry I haven't been posting there much this week. I've kind of just been in monk mode, but I promise I will post there more henceforth, thanks to my good friend Snuppill here, for putting more members in that Discord for me to ramble to. Hi Jadis, he is the man of the hour. Well, I suppose. Or, no, I think Snutbill's really the man of the hour, gifting all these subs. This is now Snutbill's stream. He paid for the privilege. I'm now going to hand it over to him. I'm just going to hand you this mic through the monitor, and now he'll take over. Hello. How is everyone else? I know Snutbill's probably doing fine right now. How's everyone else doing? Hey Cosmic, you're in YouTube chat this time. And Twitch. No, you can't be in both. You gotta pick one, okay? Actually, no, please be in both. I need the ad revenue, please do it. No, but seriously though, my latest video of the last devlog, I was very proud of it, but financially speaking, it's performing terribly because it's not a trendy hot topic for the algorithm, which is a bit upsetting. So I guess to answer the question, I'm doing okay, but I am kind of annoyed that, that the stuff I want to make videos about is not the stuff YouTube wants me to make videos about, and it's annoying. I don't like that all the time. One ad to the next, yeah. Well, hey, I need the money, okay? Games don't get made for free. And, well, I've tried getting money all sorts of ways, and a lot of it hasn't worked. And I don't want to do it in some kind of way that's going to compromise me. So I do really appreciate people that have been super chatting to the stream and on the Patreon and stuff. It's been a huge help because, yeah, weirdly enough, a lot of people seem to think that YouTube ad revenue is some kind of money hack or something, but I can tell you that it's definitely not. Maybe it was like 5-10 years ago, but definitely not anymore. So I really do appreciate the supporters. Cosmic is watching this in VR right now. What? That's strange. That's a strange way to watch Twitch. But if that does it, how does it work? Does it just stretch the whole stream 360, and you can look around my desktop like this? I don't know how that works, but it sounds pretty. You sound like a very committed viewer. You completely siphoning yourself from reality, and now you know what I got to do. I got to make like a VR set just for you now. I'm going to make this whole room in VR so that you can watch the stream, and the camera is in my chair. That's what I got to do. That's going to be the next that's going to be the evolution of streaming. This person with a bunch of emojis for a username says, just finished my sophomore year in game design. I don't know what a sophomore year is, guys. I'm not an American like you. I'm sorry. I know that we don't use the word sophomore in Australia. I've only ever used it heard in Disney Channel shows, so I have no clue what sophomore means. But that sounds cool. A year in game design. I'm guessing that's at a university or something. Not that, because I always, whenever I hear the word sophomore, I think high school or something. But they don't teach game design in high school, so I'm going to guess that's university. Your stuff has been really insightful, and it really checks out. Oh, well, thank you. I'm glad that it checks out. I'm glad to know that your professors have given me the stamp of approval that my stuff does indeed check out. That is good to know. That's a second year? Okay, all right. Well, hey, how am I meant to know? Okay, I didn't go to university. I didn't even finish high school, so I don't know all this. And I'm in our country, we don't use these words. What do we call it? I don't know. What does Australia use? Year 9? That's what we call our students. It doesn't matter what year you're in. You're always just year 9. Settle down, please. That's how we refer to any student in Australia. So you're probably wondering it's on my desktop. It's been a kind of a slowish week. It's been a monotonous week. It's just been editing and editing and editing and editing and editing, kind of. So I've got my timeline open here of some clipping I've been doing. I've been getting faster with this particular area that I'm working on right now. I don't know if how much of this I think I might have shown off bits of this the other week, but I've been working on hopefully what will be, at least for the meantime, the only big, massive devlog in the pipeline right now. So this is about Gabby's model, and it's been a big one because it was just such a journey. But what I've been doing, I started working on this months ago, but it wasn't good. And then I had to start working on other videos to have something out, so I had to put this on hold. But now I'm back working on it, and I'm trying to make it less boring, because it is quite long. It's like an hour and something minutes. It's very long. And some of you might be wondering, oh, well, why don't you just split it into two halves? It is split into two halves. The first half is an hour and something minutes, and the second half I haven't even started yet. It's already been split in half. This first half is all about the modeling, of going from nothing to having the model. The second half is going to be on animation specifically, which I have so much to say about that I want to just make that its own episode, where the model is all there and it's just animating every day, animating. Because I think I spent more time animating than actually building the model itself, because the animations were quite demanding. What I will do, because you guys haven't seen her in a while, I'll have to get Gabby open. We've all probably missed her a bit, but I'll show off the model a bit on stream just to satiate you guys for the meantime, because all of this is all very technical. But I'm trying to make it less technical and more fun. So what I've been doing, I had this big hour-long narration breaking down the technicals of, and this is how I unwrapped, and this is how I did this, and this is how I placed the bones. And it's kind of just, it's a lot to digest. And I know that most people will not want to watch all of this, because from my experience being on YouTube, there is a reason why a video like this does not exist already, and that's because it is not viable for a YouTube audience. It is overwhelmingly, like, it's kind of too much. So I've been dialing it back and adding some improvisation, some jazz sprinkled in there, you could say. And so what I've been doing with these are actually recordings I did while I was making it. This stuff on these timelines, this is narration I'm doing post hoc, of reflecting and not reflecting, but recounting the story months and months later. But these recordings were actually while I was doing it. Like every few days I would record one of these, and these little clips would be about anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes long. I would do every other day, and I haven't shared these anywhere. These are just my little recordings I did during it. And I think I was streaming at the time, so I have some stream VODs showing this that are on the channel, but this was the stuff I was doing off stream, of me, like, at the end, like, this is probably recorded in the middle of the night, of me just, like, yapping about UV maps and how hard it is or something. So the thing is, because they are quite long, and as the days tally up, it can get a bit repetitive. So what I've been doing is I've been taking all of these old clips and chucking them in the timeline and processing them, and just clipping out the fat and getting rid of repetition, and just getting the good bits spread across all the days I spent working on it. And the idea is I'm going to intersperse that with the stuff I've already done with the narration, so that there is some kind of through line to it, and it isn't just going all over the place. We've got the narration to tie it together of the story, of the phases you have to go through to make this sort of model and all that. Hold on, I thought I opened Unreal. I was trying to open it. I'll give it another shot, because I wanted to show you guys the actual model again, because some of you might not have even seen it up close yet. But yeah, it's just because it's like an hour, so it is probably could be my longest video. So it is a lot of work, and it's covering such a complex period of development and my life. So it's been pretty tough work. So I do very much appreciate the patrons that have been holding on. I know I said I'd have a preview of this a while ago, but it wasn't good, and I didn't want to give you like a bad preview. So I do appreciate the people that have been so extraordinarily patient with this. Okay, Unreal seems to be now open. Just give me a minute. Ooh. But basically, well, let me minimize some of these windows. Got too much stuff open. But yeah, so I think I haven't put this in and married it together yet, but I have a feeling this is going to make for a more entertaining watch, because it isn't just purely logistical now. Now there is a sense of time and presence, because I'm actually kind of taking you with me on, at ground zero of going, all right, well, today I tried doing this new UV method, and like, you can see here me sort of just fiddling around, showing like what I've been stuck on. So, because these little bits can get quite long, so I'm just trimming them down to the essences of these little bits. So this one is, I think this clip I've got, this was one I didn't finish. I think this one I just cut the fat off, but I haven't gone and actually like, I've taken off the dead air, that's the first thing I do when I get a new clip. I take off the dead air, and then I will then find the bits that are repetitive or whatever. So this is another one, this is the more recent one I did. This is only a minute long, and this is me just showing the redesign of the suit. So if I move I'll move the timeline here so it's a bit easier to see. But it's basically oh, why is it all stretched like that? I don't know why it's all stretched like that now. Okay, yeah, Premiere is just being Premiere once again. But this was like a 10-minute or maybe 20-minute recording of me talking about the suit concepts, of me redrawing her suit, because I actually did I don't even remember how much, but there was quite a lot of work that went into this. But I've got this version, and then I scroll over, and it's like, and then there's this version I did. So I've trimmed like the 20-minute recording down to 1:25, which is, if for those that don't know the kind of work that is, it's quite impressive. It's basically turning each of these into a YouTube short. And yeah, you can see me there like circling the areas, making like observations on where I've moved stuff and why I reshaped the pads and all this stuff. Talking about, because I had to really think when I was redoing the model, because the suit also had to be redesigned so that even when animating it, it wouldn't look awkward, because there was a lot of reasons why the old one looked awkward. So I go through all of that within the span of a minute here. I talk about how the contours facing different ways kind of makes a huge difference. And then there'll be the actual modeling of it itself and everything. What's really funny with these recordings, though, part of the reason I can cut so much out of them is that when I was doing these, I noticed now that I've watched like 2 months worth of these in the last few days, I've noticed that what I tend to do is I'll spend the first half of it talking about what I've done, and then I spend the second half predicting what's going to happen, and then that ends up actually happening. Like I'll have a bit at the end where it's like, okay, now I've just done this, and I think this next bit is going to be really tricky, and I think I'm going to struggle with this. And then, like, a few days later, there's the next recording where the exactly thing I predicted was going on. So it is kind of funny, but because you as the viewer are going to just see it in a minute anyway, it's not really worth showing what I think is going to happen like every few minutes, where it's like I do the thing and then I say, oh, I think this will happen, and then that happens. It gets a bit boring. So I've just cut all of those bits out, where it goes, all right, now I'm doing this, and then I only need like a minute or two, and then it should take you to the next a few days later, where you don't need me to predict it for you, because you'll find out in a minute anyway. So that's a lot of it is just finding the bits where I'm cutting those off, and then a lot of it is just trimming the dead air. That's actually a big contributor as to why these can get so short. That's like the real key to turning a 20-minute into a 1:25. It's just the dead air, because sometimes I'll just sit there and think about what I'm saying, and I just cut out the spaces between the sentences, cut out the breathing, and it's a lot faster. So it's a bit different than watching a stream, because in these streams it feels more relaxed, but in a video the pacing has got to be like kind of very high. So I've been learning like new hotkeys and stuff to make that faster, and that's been a big help. It's just kind of repetitive, and my hands are getting a bit sore from it, of course. But it's easier editing because you don't have to make a lot of choices. You just have to trim. And now it's getting to the point where I've gotten into the flow of it. So I'm hoping that by the next week or so, because I still have like a few months worth of stuff to go. I'd say I'm about a third of the way in with all the clips. But I think I actually know it might be halfway done, because the last few ones are all about animating, which will be for the next video. So in terms of the modeling, I've already got the texture and the UV map part where I've talked about. This is just modeling the suit, and that was kind of the last stage of the model. And I think there'll be a few on probably rigging. So I'd say it's about half in terms of like clipping and processing these. I'm about halfway through it. But yeah, lots of foreshadowing. Strawberry says you're basically making a documentary. Try to tell facts or telling a compelling story. Yeah. I think that's I think how it ought to be, right? I was trying to make it like kind of a Game Maker's Toolkit type video for a bit, where it was like over narrated, but it was still trying to be a documentary, but it felt detached because I was doing the narration like months later, so it felt off. And I'm like, okay, I'm trying really hard to make this interesting, but it's not. Why is it not interesting? And I think it's just because I need to show you actually in the moment. And you might ask, I don't know if maybe some people are thinking this or not, but the thing that's tricky is that part of the reason I'm putting so much effort into this video is that there are a lot of people that make modeling videos, like that you go on, I don't know, I haven't actually looked up a lot of them, but I know that this is like a whole niche. This is how my first videos got discovered. So if you type in 3D anime blender or something, my video might still come up even, or not. Okay, I guess I'm irrelevant now. But a lot of people make stuff like this now. This didn't used to be the case 5 years ago, but now everyone's doing this. But the thing is, I don't know how to so these have an appeal for a different oh hey, there's my video. Okay, well I am still relevant, guys. But the appeal for these is not this is for 3D modelers. Like that's the appeal for most of these videos, is that if you are following my project and care about the game, you are not going to want to watch a video about this, because most of you don't care about how 3D modeling works, but you're interested in how the game is developing. And that's actually a good problem, because I have seen the opposite case where you'll have a YouTuber or someone that everyone only cares about their technical procedure and not about the thing they're making. So I think for me it's kind of mixed, but my intention is to make a video that appeals not just to 3D people, but can appeal to people that want to play a game with this style, that have wondered, why is it that no games look this way? And that's kind of the answer will be, well, this is what you have to go through to make it look this way. And that's probably why most people don't want to do it. But yeah, because the thing with this is this is the stuff that is normally here. This sort of stuff appeals to 3D modeling students, which is fine, but that's not who... I don't want to target those people exclusively, because they are much more... They have a more logistical reason for watching it, and not an emotional reason. So when they're watching... This is the sort of... Like with my video, there's a bit of YouTube insight for you. Because my most viewed video, I think, ever is the part 1 of her first model. So if we sort by popular, oh Jesus, 800,000 views. Well, that's pretty insane. But that's my most viewed ever video I've ever done, was on Gabby's first model. But you notice how I don't have 800,000 people don't care about Project Feline, right? That's because a lot of the viewers that came and watched this probably found that through the search results, because it still, for whatever reason, comes up in the making a 3D anime character when you type it in search. So this is search traffic. And search traffic is more logistical, in the sense that the only people looking for it are people that want to make models, not necessarily people who care about the game. So that's why this has a disproportionate amount more views than anything else, which is, you know, it's cool, but it wasn't intentional. It just happened to happen, and it was a complete fluke. But now this time, I know much better what I actually want out of the video. So I want to exercise a degree of intention with who it attracts. So I don't think it'll do as well as this, but if it does do well, it'll be for the right reason. So this second video here about my funding escapades, did quite well, and this did well for better reasons. Reasons that I prefer having rather than this one, because people that watch this are more invested in what I'm actually doing, whereas this one not so much. And I don't know, I think that's just something to keep in mind, because it is very easy to just go, oh well, I'll make a big tutorial about 3D models, and that's, I think I don't think I want to be that person when I'm trying to make a game, if that makes sense. Because if you really want to be a good tutorials person, you kind of have to just be a tutorials person. You can't be trying to also make a game while being a tutorials person. It doesn't quite work, I've noticed. So that's part of the reason why because you might wonder, well, how can a video about this take so long? And that's part of the reason, is that it isn't a logistical step-by-step tutorial. It's more of like you said, it's a documentary more. So, there is a degree to which I want people to be invested in the story without actually needing to know anything about modeling, because it's more about the adventure of watching one dude with no training try and model like a professional Japanese modeler with no help. Because that's kind of a funny premise when you think about it. Even if you don't know anything about how modeling is, that kind of sounds like a hilarious premise. And it's like, oh, I got to see this. So that's, but you got to not just make that promise, you got to fulfill that promise as well. So that's, yeah. But the progress has, though, because I was getting stuck on this for a while, but it is going much better now that I'm clipping it like this and actually looking at what I was doing at the time. It's made it a lot easier. So that's been kind of most of my week. I don't have much else to show. I've been doing a little bit of stuff on the website too. But I might show. What do I want to show? I guess I'll take a chat break for a quick second here, and I'll decide what I want to show you next. I haven't had much time to work on much else, but I do have a few other things I guess I could show. But Cosmic is standing in my room watching the stream via virtual desktop, or a now discontinued Oculus Quest 1. I thought, okay, well, I'm very out of date with VR stuff. I thought Oculus was like a new thing that has been given new life thanks to the VR community. A lot of that wash your bowl mindset you mentioned in game design seems to have been taken to heart in restoring otherwise abandoned tech and leaving a tidy code base. Oh, oh man, that's awesome. That's great. I've never been a big VR guy myself, but I can always appreciate when bowls are washed. That's really cool, man. I'm glad you told me that. Man, that phrase is catching on, isn't it? We got to make that a meme. But that's awesome. Yeah, I've had a similar experience, not with VR, but with this phone. I got this new phone recently. Don't laugh, okay? I've gone full boomer lifestyle. I have a dumb phone now. This is a flip phone. Whoa, look at that. And I've been able to get this working in my country thanks to a lot of passionate people that cared enough to write all these blogs about how to set it up and how to sideload apps on it and stuff. So it's I can relate with, that's sort of how I can relate with a story like that. But that's great to hear, Cosmic. Glad to hear that the community cares about keeping their bowls clean, if you know what I mean. Den Peckle says, pretty sure the Gabby modeling video is what made me find out about Project Feline. Oh, well, hey, that's epic. Well, it may be so, because I did make a few videos about it. The thing is that they are logistical. So I think a lot of people might have found out about it, but it wasn't on purpose, you know what I mean? Like this, I didn't realize what I was doing when I was making these videos. I didn't know who it would attract. I didn't know what else to do, and I thought, oh, well, I'll make it like because some of these are very much like tutorial. I think there is a video in here that is literally a tutorial, and that actually doesn't even show up on the most viewed because it did so badly. But they are a lot. The thing as well is because I was talking about this with a friend yesterday, because the tricky thing with videos is the spirit with which it's made. And these videos of her old model, I would say, are very much made from the logos, which is it's sort of like, what I mean to say is that it's made purely from a logistical place, where the video is just, here's how I did stuff, here's the logistics, here's the logic of how I modeled and did this and whatever. And that's fine. But there are more powerful places from which to make videos. So this video, my second most viewed one, this was, I'm trying to remember what the word for this is. There's three things of this spirit. I don't know, this is like they use this wording in poetry and psychology, but there's logos, pathos, and a third one. It might be ethos or something else. I can't remember exactly what it was. Not quite like this. This wasn't exactly it, but it's there was another word. It wasn't ethos. There was some other saying that my friend and I were talking about. Because logos is very much, here's the logic and reason of, how to build a character. That's sort of that. The pathos, that's a lot like my last devlog, where I'm not really talking about the logistics, but I'm talking about the pathology of it, of what I'm thinking and what my reasoning. And the third one, this isn't quite what I had in mind, but there is a third one maybe this is a word we made up or something, but we were talking about a third one called like thymos or something like that. I'll search up if that's actually a word. Oh, it is. Okay, it's a Greek word. Spiritedness, or thumos. I guess thymos, thumos, whatever this is. And when you make a video from here, this is the Screen Australia video, where it's not so much about the logistics, but it's about the expression of will, if you could say. So I think part of the reason that drew so many eyes is, firstly, it was a pretty tense situation, but I think what people latched on, or even the wash your bowl story, even with that one, which is sitting here at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, number 6. The thing with this is from that same spirit, where there is the logistics, which I actually kept to a minimum. I tried to keep that to a minimum with all the contracting and what have you, because there was a lot there I didn't go into. But the spirit with which I'm talking in this video is very much from the expression of what I want to do. And that it's more emotionally resonant, and it attracts people for, I'd say, higher quality reasons. So while it's true that more people have watched this video, they have watched it for logistical reasons, and a lot of them did not stick around. But those who have watched this and this video watched it for, like, from the thymos, for an emotional reason, which is more enduring. But to make a video from thumos or thymos is more work, because you really have to do a lot of inner work and then the outer work to show. It can't be purely logistical. It has to be a lot of like thumos and then some logistics and then some pathos as well. So I know this probably sounds pretty out there, but this is, I'd thought about it like this for a while, but I didn't have the words for it. But I've got a friend that he knows a lot about language, and I was explaining this problem to him about this video, and he told me about what these words meant, and it all just kind of clicked and made sense. So I guess the intention for this video, because I want to basically, this is redoing those videos from Gabby's first model, but instead of doing it from logos, doing it from thumos instead. And I'm kind of curious what impact that would have, where it's like, I want there to be sort of like, 60% thumos, 30% logos, and like 10% pathos, where I do have a bit of stuff in there about what my reasoning is for things, but not over explaining it too much. Because I noticed that that side, that dimension, pathos does not do well on YouTube. I've noticed that was not a lot of people want to watch pathos, so I think it's important, so I want to have a bit of it sprinkled in, but it's going to be mostly expression of, I want to do this, here's me trying to do it. It's the back and forth between the will and the execution. So now that because I'm just thinking more about what I want the experience for the audience to be like, and I think it'll make this a more enduring video. And I think it'll be entertaining for reasons that I've intended for, rather than before. I didn't know people would want to watch all that stuff about character modeling, but a lot of them only wanted to watch stuff about character modeling as well. They didn't really care about what the model was for. So, it's not just about getting the highest view. It's about getting the right view. That's sort of how I see it. Anyway, speaking of modeling, we'll say hello to Gabby. It's been a while since we've said hello. Because all of that rambling might sound like nonsense, but when you've compiled that together, this is the result you get. Everyone say hi. It's Gabby again. I don't have a wave animation for her. I'll have to make one just for the live streams. Yeah. Just for the streams, I'll have to make a waving animation. Coester says, I feel these streams are very pathos. That's right, which is why most people don't watch them, which is why I very much appreciate the people who do. But yeah, I think the streams and my blog that I'm trying to start will be my pathos zone. And I think YouTube very much rewards thumos energy and logos if you're in the tutorial space, but not pathos as much unless you're into like unless you're a niched viewer that watches philosophy or something. But yeah, I wonder what Gabby would watch. Gabby, what videos do you watch on YouTube? Please don't tell me you watch YouTube Shorts. I bet you she watches YouTube Shorts like a cringe child. Nah, she probably doesn't. I don't know. She probably doesn't spend a lot of time online. Gabby's too busy flipping everywhere. So because here's the exciting thing. Because this is the thing that makes me excited. Is all of that all gets distilled down into this vessel. So I know that a lot of that sounds like rambling, but this is the outcome you get when you have compiled and thought about all of that. And when you haven't thought about all of that, you get what her old model was, which was underdeveloped and, flawed. But I mean, this is still flawed, but it's more graceful. Like the flaws are forgivable. And this is, so... And I don't know, when you look at this, I don't know if you guys can feel it, but you can feel something. It doesn't feel like you're just looking at, polygons. Like when you look at it, you feel something. And what I'm basically trying to do is to express in the video the will I want and show a bit of the logos and some of the pathos of it as well. But it's about striking that balance. You can't go too much into one. See, she exercises instead of watching TikTok. That is right. Yes, that's how I raised her. That's how I raise them. They don't watch. I don't give my kids no iPads. Okay, we get them. I just make them do gymnastics all day. Okay, for whatever reason, the game keeps lag. I think it's because I'm doing a backup in the background. So it is lagging every few frames because of that. So don't pay that any mind. Olympics, Lazy Town. Yeah, that's right. So here's the thing, right? Is that some of you that might remember when I was looking up all that reference of Sporticus, the episode I'm working on is not even on that yet. This is the stuff from before that. So that's why I've already split it into, because the second half, which I haven't started on yet, but the second half, which will just be on animations, that's when I finally get to talk about all of the cool, reference I was looking at, and the Sporticus and the flips and the gymnasts and, doing the keep. There's so much I want to say about that. That was so fun. But that's actually, I have so much just on the model that came before, an hour of the model. So that's going to be its own video, and then I'll have one on animation. So yeah, because I even forgot how much work this was, honestly. But yeah, I remember that was a fun period. We were on the streams watching Lazy Town every day and studying it. So yeah, I mean that's how you know this is a pretty big episode, because I've got an hour of stuff and I haven't even gotten up to that part. So yeah, it's a journey, right? And I guess I even psychologically, I did quite change a lot, and you can what I'm hoping is maybe throughout the video you start to notice sort of throughout how I start to become more confident in the process. And that, that's an emotional thing, and humans are good, they resonate with emotional things like that. So, God, that sounds very clinical, doesn't it? But it's true. You gotta be thinking about this stuff when you're creating content. Stinky Boy says, God, I love these smears. Thank you. Well, yeah, I mean, that's the cool thing as well, is that I haven't even gotten up to talking about the smears in the dev. Like, that will be in the second part where I talk about smears. Because, yeah, there is an insane amount of work that just had to go into the body and the design before I could even do the fun stuff like the particles, the smears, the flips, the keyframes, the style, the shading. Oh my goodness. You can see why it's been quite a procedure to do. But also quite the adventure. So, and then there's all the environment stuff as well. So I haven't shown this on stream in a while, but I'll show it off. Because then after that, I then did the same process with the environments, and there's a reason why, I don't know, I guess some of you that have been following the streams will already notice this, but for those that are just following the devlogs only, you will have no clue. Because then I took that deliberation thinking process, that standard, to the environments. And this is still a work in progress, but the reason why I haven't made progress on this lately is because I want to make the videos I need to make about the rest of the progress first, and then finish this off, and then do the video on the levels. Because if I keep working on the levels now, I'm going to get so far ahead and the devlogs are going to get so far behind that the gap is just going to keep getting bigger. And that's more and more debt, you could say, video debt of stuff I have to make videos on. So I'm trying to just get rid of the devlog debt, you could say. But even like this little room, like I took that same kind of effort to this as well. And it was so fun. And that's like, but the attitude that I had to develop was from making Gabby's model. Like when I made her model and I had to be super exacting over every little detail, that's where I developed the right mindset and the right attitude about the work, which I could then apply to everything else. But it all started with one model. I guess you could say it started within, if you could say. It started with the main character by just getting one model to look good. It's like, well, if I can't even get the main character, I won't be able to do anything else. So I did just the main character, and then everything else. So it's that's like the stuff I did and the way I changed just with the way I thought doing Gabby. That's the reason why the game, some of you have said this looks miles ahead of what I remember it, or this has come a long way. The reason why you say that is because of all of the suffering I went through for just on Gabby's model. Because once you know how to compile the right attitude, you can then apply it easily to other places. So, but a lot of that it was hard inner work as well, not just work on Gabby herself, but also just, having the confidence to not want to shortcut it. And not despair over how long it took. Because I've noticed with people that try to do this, a lot of them don't, because they are extremely afraid of spending time, I've noticed. And I had to just get over that and go, look, this is probably going to take like 6 months, and I have to not be afraid of it taking 6 months. And I have to have faith. I guess that's what it did. I guess you could say I developed faith. Which you might think, oh, well, didn't he have that this whole time? Well, not like this. This is it leveled up, you could say. It became unshakable faith. I had faith, but I had doubts. And when I finished the model, it was unshakable faith. And I think that is really, as I've said in my last video, that is something that transcends in importance. It transcends over the tools. If you don't have faith at all, you won't be able to. You can't have an engine save you or something if you can't do that stuff. So that's actually the secret ingredient. It's like the Dragon Scroll, okay? There's no secret game engine. There's no secret scroll that tells you how to be the dragon warrior. You know, man, you guys, I don't know if you have kids these days even watched Kung Fu, the original Kung Fu Panda? Because if not, you have to watch that movie. That's basically what this idea, the movie is about. This idea, you have to become the dragon warrior, and you have to just, the secret, there is no ingredient, it's just you, and that's it. And that's kind of what I kind of went through that making this model. So that's more of the pathos side. That's the thing, though. I can't make the whole video about that because that would not be algorithmically viable, because most people do not care. So the trick is to sprinkle some of that in to add that kind of zest to the video, but it can't be the thing carrying the video. It has to be supporting it in the periphery, in the margins, but it can't be in the body. It has to be in the margins. That's sort of, you know, that's the stuff I got to think about when crafting a video, trying to explain this whole journey, or to recount it, I should say. Tony says, you're killing it. Great work. Thank you. Thank you. Well, you know, all of that inner work, that's what gets people to say great work, you know, because I do take that pretty seriously when people say that it's great. And I don't, not in the I let it go to my head way. I do know when people say it to be nice, but don't really mean it. But I know now, I've noticed, because people used to say that to me a lot, and I never liked being complimented. But now, when people tell me that it's I'm killing it, or that it's great, I understand. I know that hearing that after having gone through this, actually, like, that is not, like, I know that is actually like a good symptom, and it isn't just because I think when I was at the very beginning with, you know, devlog 1, people used to say the same thing, but I could tell that it wasn't right, because it wasn't great. I was like, I know this isn't great, but everyone's telling me it's great, and it creates unease. You know, so because I had kind of compiled properly, my brain properly, I now accept that I think it's good, it's great. I don't like calling my own stuff great, it feels uncomfortable, but I think it's great for the right reasons now, whereas before I think people would say, oh, it's great because they want to be encouraging, which is, it's helpful, but it isn't, it can be debilitating if you tell that to the wrong person, I've noticed. You know, I knew people that were very praise-seeking like that, and, you know, people would tell them that, oh, your stuff's great, but it really wasn't, and it kind of was their undoing, because they didn't know the difference between an earned praise and unearned praise. There is a difference. So yeah, you'll notice that in like devlog 3 or something, there's probably going to be, most of the comments probably going to just be complaining, but there'll probably be stuff in here that's like, oh, this is looking good, but it's literally junk. Like, this is not great. This is very much like bare minimum. But there's people like, oh, this is amazing. This is great. Like, I love these. This is so good. And it's like, while it was, you know, it was encouraging, which I guess is what I needed, but I had to very much keep myself distant from that. I had to not let this stuff in too much. I had to just use it as, okay, well, people like this, I should try, but I know that this isn't good, and I can't let praise trick me into thinking that if I know this isn't good, I can't let someone saying it's good. I have to come to my own reason. I have to know for myself that it's good first. So that's kind of a thing as well that's part of that. Anyway, I've probably over-explained it, but you get what I mean. Overthinking final boss, yeah. Well, overthinking is helpful, I find. You want to be thinking the right amount. You don't want to be underthinking. That's most importantly. I think overthinking is better than underthinking, personally. But I think you do have to try and keep it in balance. Rashad's, hey man, says, hey Raymond, since you're an Unreal user that uses forward rendering, have you encountered the weird thing that UE does for anything lighting and reflection related? No, I don't think I have, and I'll tell you why. I don't think I have because I'm not using those. I think what you mean is because with forward rendering, you can't use more than like 2, 3, 4. I can't remember the exact amount. You can't use like more than 4 overlapping lights or something like that, or else it like clips. Where if you have 4 lights overlapping each other, it doesn't know what priority. Is that what I think that's what you mean, right? I have avoided that problem, and also reflect, because you can't do like real-time screen space reflections, I think, in forward rendering. The way you solve that is having an art style that doesn't need screen space reflections or real-time lighting. That's the key. So the fortunate thing, I haven't worked on this level in a while, but all of the lighting is pre-baked. And I think when you bake it, it sorts out those priority problems. I think the reason it can't do that normally is because it's all done in one pass. And again, I'm not a renderer expert. I'm not a computer graphics programmer, so I don't know if this is correct. But from what I understand, because forward rendering is one pass, whereas deferred rendering, it does the pass and then it does a second pass for post stuff. It's deferred. I think that's how it is anyway. And the issue is that if you have it all in one pass, I think it doesn't quite know in one pass how to prioritize the lights. So yeah, I just bake them and that seems to have solved it. I haven't really had issues. And then I just don't use reflections anywhere. And if I was going to use reflections, I would do like a cube map, old school cube map reflections, which I will probably do at some point. But that's how I avoid. I just use low-tech graphics and it seems to solve it pretty much. Fearing a llama. How do I pronounce that? Fearing Galma 15. I don't know. I'm close. How do you maintain motivation and momentum over such a long dev cycle? Yeah, that is a good question. I would say, I think I said before, unshakable faith is sort of how, I guess. There has been a lot of shakes to that though. What did you? I'm hitting my own crisis point after just 1 year because I feel I lack motion. There is a lot of oh man, that could be a whole video. I'm trying to think of a quick way to answer this. It's kind of how to say, there's a lot of unglamorous little things you do. There isn't some magic there, because I notice when people ask that, they are hoping that there's some trick that, oh, if I just implement this one trick, I will have motivation all the time. And that's not quite it. The actual key is not needing motivation. Because you've probably noticed that motivation is not constant. It comes and goes. And that is, in my case as well, also the case. There isn't a trick where the motivation is constant. I think that's what a lot of people look for. It's like, what magic thing can I think so that my motivation never goes away? But that's not really how it is. It's more that you have to, I guess, condition yourself to work so consistently and robotically at it that you can get stuff done without being motivated. That's sort of how it is for me. And now I would take this advice with a grain of salt, because ultimately this advice has only kept me working, but it hasn't gotten me to the finish line yet. I have faith that it will, but you'd want to mix this in with something. You want to mix this in from other people that have finished something. But I think what I have to say has merit too. It's just that it's going to take me a bit longer. But the thing is you'll probably find this even the case with the successful people that have finished stuff, is that a lot of the time they probably also had to compile and go through this where they were able to finish stuff without being motivated to. Because what you need is not motivation, you need discipline. You need to build discipline. And the way you do that is you have to treat your work like work. You have to be, at your desk at the same time every day consistently for like 10 years. And you gotta not be on your phone. You gotta sit down. You gotta be all right from whatever time you have. If you're full time, that's great. If not, just whatever time. If you have to go to work and the rest of the day I've got from 5 to 10. Or I've got from 8 to 10 p.m., then every day I have to sit here at my desk from 8 to 10 and do something. And the trick is you have to not be expected. You can't expect You can't have this vision of, oh, well, I'm going to get so much done to, like, no. You just have to make the opportunity for work happen. You can't be all proud about how, oh, I'm going to do 10 things today. Like, no, if you do that, you probably won't get 10 things done and you'll hate yourself. And then you get burned out and demotivated. But if you just go in with an open, no expectations, thinking, all right, well, the only thing I have to do is just be here for the allotted time and just do something. The important thing isn't how much you do in that time. It's the fact that you do that every day. Like, if you do that consistently, I think that's where it is. And I think the reason why, I don't know, I've just found for me that works, which is why from week to week, you might notice that there isn't a lot of glamorous. That's why devlogs are kind of hard to do, because I used to try to do the devlog every week and every month, but there's just not enough interesting stuff that happens in that time to be worth making a video on. And that's because a lot of it is just a slog. It is just, you sit down and you do the work, and it's basically like a 9-to-5 type thing, which is, that's sort of you have to treat it like that. You can't treat it in like bursts of inspiration where, oh, I have this big burst of motivation at 2 a.m. I'm going to go work on my game. That's not, you won't get anything done like that. You have to be like a blue collar workman about it, which sounds boring. It doesn't sound like the glamorous answer that a lot of people want, but that is the truth, I think. That's how I've been able to not give up, because there is just a lot of unglamorous, boring. Like, do you think I mean, even the stuff I'm doing now with this editing stuff, even running a devlog, you think that's fun? You think I enjoy running a devlog all the time? You think I love sitting here? What am I working on? Oh, clipping, 230828 border PNG. Do you think I don't enjoy doing that? You think I love sitting here clipping stuff? It's boring. It is so boring. Sitting here clipping audio and then like making there's some fun bits to it. Making the textures is kind of fun, but that's like 20% of the work is this. That's kind of why it's hard to explain game development to people, to a general audience. As a lot of people, when they don't see the glamorous stuff going on like this is the fun stuff, but this is like this is above the iceberg. There's all the stuff beneath it. And all the above the iceberg stuff is fun to watch. But the minute you don't do this and actually have to do stuff that's necessary, a lot of people don't quite get it. Where they go, what is he? Why is he not doing the fun stuff? And it's like, well, because the fun stuff is the reward for doing all the stuff, the boring stuff. So even for me to do all this work on this level like I have, I had to do a lot of reading. I had to do a lot of making bad levels to know what not to do. Like, there was a lot of, I had to have no fun for years to make one hallway that looked good. So, it's, you don't get there in bursts. You get there by like being a kind of a 9-to-5 workman attitude about it. That's the sort of, I don't know, that's the short of it pretty much. And I don't know, it's worked for me in the sense that I'm still here. So I'd imagine that would work but you just got to train yourself, and that takes a while. It took me, part of the development journey that I think a lot of people don't get is that a lot of people assume that when a game, I don't know, I've just noticed that whenever a game takes more than 3 years, people, for whatever reason, get really hostile, even though most games take longer than 3. Like, I don't know personally anyone that has made a game in less than 5. But what people think is that at the beginning and the end, it's like a consistent pace. Like, they assume in day 1 they're making just as much progress as day 500. But for me, at least, because of the first like 2 or 3 years was not like this. It was very much it was way more of a struggle, because firstly, I had a lot more stuff outside. Like, I was doing teaching and all this other stuff. I had like 2 other jobs I had to do, and also especially like in the first couple years, I didn't know what I just told you, like, about that kind of consistency. I was very much doing it more in bursts, which is why way less got done, even though the time was still going by. So there was a big period through which I had to learn how to manage time and not just use it. And I guess a lot of people that don't know they think that people just come with the ability to do that by default, but that's something you do have to develop. So that's part of the underneath the iceberg stuff, I guess. So if you're ever like kind of antsy with your own thing, because what did you say? You said you had spent a year. Let me reread that. After just 1 year, yeah, because the thing is, a year is really not that long. That is not that long to develop that. From what I've seen, it usually takes people like 5 years, not even to make the thing, but to make themselves the guy that can make the thing, which is its own. I think that's the friction you're facing, is that you have the thing you want to make, but you aren't the guy yet. And that's why you feel you're having a crisis point. That's what a crisis point is when you've realized that you aren't the guy yet and you're facing friction. And if you aren't the guy, that will be discouraging. So you have to look a bit less at your output and more at your input, more at yourself a bit, and see if, am I putting in consistent? So I don't know your whole backstory here, but if you recognize, that what I'm saying, if you look at your own stuff, if you don't look at the output for a second and you just look at your habits, it's like, well, am I working at this consistently? Am I sitting here for the same hours each day doing it? Or am I doing this in bursts? If you know which of those is you, if you are doing it in bursts, then that's probably why you're having a crisis point. So I don't know if there's a neat way I can tie this up. I think you get what I'm trying to say, though. Fearing says, it's not long. It's long for me with code. I freely spent a decade on Half-Life 2 levels that went nowhere, but had fun because I was doing the level design. Well, that's cool. You've done some foundational work then. Now I have to code, and even with blueprints, it's tough. Yeah, man. I was much the same. I didn't do Half-Life mapping, but my version of that was drawing. I spent like 10 years drawing. All through high school, all through primary school, I was just drawing constantly. And then when it came to actually having to code stuff, I did struggle a lot. I think part of it as well then, apart from just consistently doing it, there's a second element as well to which you have to have a strong reason to make it. So I don't know if you had seen my last devlog about stop worshipping your tools. If you haven't seen that, I would recommend it, because that partially answers your question too. There's the 9 to 5 attitude where you have to be like a workman, but you also have to have a reason to do it. And it has to be beyond just that it's fun. It has to be deeper than it's just fun, because it as you've seen, there's a lot of it that is not fun, like coding. But if there is part of it that is fun and you have an experience in your head, because you haven't mentioned this yet, so it makes me wonder if maybe this is the thing you have to think about, where there's the process, but you have to think about, I'll restart this sentence. The way I look at Project Feline, this is actually a really good question. I'm gonna spend a bit of time trying to answer this. I'll do some let's play in the background. Okay, I'll show you something interesting on screen. We'll do some let's play. So the way I see Feline, the reason I haven't given up on it, even though I've been very tempted to, because my God, this is a pain to work on sometimes. But the reason I don't put it down is because I see the game as an offering. I see it as like, the world needs good stuff. Steam needs good games on it. People need good entertainment. The thing is, people won't tell you this, but they do need it if you watch them. They won't tell you this, but they need it. People need, like I was saying in my video, they need sorry, my mouse went off screen there. They need artifacts of attitude to remind them of who they are. That's what I want. That's kind of my thing for Feline, is that it is deeply the artistic reason. The deep reason is that it's an artifact to remind people of who they are, or to give them an aspiration. That's deeply what I think. That's what all good games do. If you boil it down past the technicals, If you think about your favorite game, you think about Mario, you think about Halo, you think about whatever it is, and you think about why would you spend 40 hours, 50 hours, 100 hours, 200 hours on a video game, on software? Why would you do that? And that's because it's because it's more than software. That's why you would spend so much time on it. So I see it as an offering of, look, there's a limited amount of stuff people will pay attention to. There is a limited amount of stuff that can succeed. So I have to make a good offering. And if it's not a good offering, then I got to try harder or something like that. That's sort of how I think about it. And when I think about the offering, I think, well, what is it I'm offering to people? Because I think that's an interesting question to ask, because I've noticed when I was starting to make games and when I was around other students, none of them had asked this question, and they were more there for their own self-satisfaction, in the sense that they wanted to make like self-satisfying work because they want to express themselves, which is fine and dandy. It's good to express yourself, but you have to do more than just that. And this might not be you. I have just observed this though, and this is something that I think it ought to be thought about. Because I've noticed that people that only have that do tend to struggle with this problem of burning out or losing motivation, or what was the word you used? I'm not saying this is you. I'm just making an observation. But based on the word you used, you feel it's hard to be motivated to keep momentum. Like, I've noticed that tends to happen with people that are making a self-satisfying work for self-satisfaction, because you need kind of like supply. I don't know if narcissistic supply is the right word, but you need a validation supply to continue that. And that's where you'll see, that's kind of where I've noticed that's why a lot of people will start devlogs, because they want to make something that satisfies themselves, but it's hard to judge that. So they want other people to praise what they're doing, and then they get that satisfaction, and it kind of creates a cycle. However, if you just do that, the game will be average, and that's why a lot of games that get made through devlogs are average. And this is not this is not me trying to like say I'm above this or something. This is just a thing I've noticed that happens, and this is probably something I was even doing at the beginning when I think about it. But as I thought more about it, that made me not want to quit. I had to not think about it like that anymore, and I had to think, well, it's not just good enough to satisfy myself. I have to make an offering that I would be satisfied with, but it's also the purpose of the thing is to be in the market, right? It has to compete in the market, and where it satisfies people that aren't me. So when I think about it like that, I kind of changed the way I thought about the entire thing, and it kind of makes it impossible to lose complete enthusiasm or a complete motivation, or not motivation. It makes it very hard to put it down, because you have a purpose that's bigger than you, where instead of just I want to make this to express myself or something, you have I want to express myself and offer myself as an offering to the people who need it, because that is a more selfless motivation. And I think obviously you don't want to do it just for other people as well, because if you do go too far, you create something that is with no identity, that is people pleasing, and you don't want to go too far in that direction either. But you want an equilibrium where you're satisfied, you have your own reasons why, but you kind of see the audience in you, and you in the audience, and you become kind of the same. And by making something, you want to be satisfying you, but also making an offering for those like you as well. And I don't know, like, this might maybe not, this might maybe be a bunch of garbage, and maybe you should just, go read a bunch of marketing articles instead, and maybe you'll do better. But for me, at least, that has helped me not put the project down, which I guess is ultimately what you want to know about. Whether that's good enough to finish something, we have yet to find out, but it's certainly good enough to not put it down, because if that wasn't the case, I would have quit. So that's sort of, if you are stuck with that, you got to think, well, what value is my thing giving to someone else? And that kind of it gives you a reason beyond you. So that way, when you are down and when you are having a bad day, or if your spirit is failing you, you at least know that, well, I have to make my offering, because and you know for a fact that it's like, well, people need this offering. It might not be 1 million people, it might be 100 people, but those 100 people need this. And it ceases to then become, because I've noticed that the hobbyist mindset is a lot like just working for yourself and working in bursts. But when you think about it like that, as like an act of service, it becomes it becomes a service instead of just whatever the alternative is, instead of just tinkering. So I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of all I have to say, really. But as I've thought things more about in that sense, it becomes that's sort of that, because when I don't have to think about it like that most of the time, because I will just be in momentum anyway, because that momentum does carry through. But when the momentum starts to fade, when you start to chafe against the edges, when you start to burn out, as they call it, the thing that stops me from catching fire completely is then that little piece of code underneath everything, where you got to think ahead of, you got to think of it like service, like an offering. And then it's like, well, I got to make my offering. And then I just snap out of it and I go back to work. And that usually happens maybe every 6 months or so, where I have that kind of crisis. But then I just remember what it's for, and then the crisis fades. So I don't know if that's stuff you've thought about as well or not. But that's what I would encourage to think about if you're having a crisis. But yeah, Centriple says the animations are so cool. Thank you. Side note, I love how cat-like the wall running animations. Oh, thank you. Well, thanks for all the compliments on the animations. Well, that's kind of, even in the animations, that's kind of what made me want to make this that good. To like, for you to even notice that, and for you to tell me about it, is sort of what I was hoping for as well. And I could have put in less work. Like, you guys weren't saying this about her old model, right? And that's because with her old model, that was made from a more self place, from I need to satisfy me. Whereas when I was doing these ones, I was thinking, I had a whole deep thing about how I don't know how to even explain it succinctly, but I knew what I wanted the animations to do for you, which is why all of you are complimenting it, which I appreciate. That's sort of the cycle. That's a successful cycle there, which it's cool. It's cool to see that in real time. But yeah, for you to like these so much, I was thinking about you and your reaction while I was doing it, which is why you're probably having this reaction at all. I was thinking about, well, how are people going to feel? You know, how will they feel doing these flips? How will they feel climbing? And part of the answer is knowing what you will feel, but there has to be a direction and a purpose. And I think if I had to boil it down to a word, if you don't, because it can be blurry knowing the difference between self-satisfaction and service. And I think the difference is, if you're only satisfying, oh, hold on, I had it on the tip of my tongue. I just forgot what I was going to say. I think the difference, do you guys hear a buzzing noise? Okay, maybe I'm just hearing things. But I just had it. I totally forgot what it was. I was about to say something really profound and I forgot. But the difference is that if it's, oh God, what was it? It was like the perfect conclusion to this point. I totally forgot what it was now. Oh no, I think, okay, the difference is, if it's self-satisfying, it's usually coming from a place of wanting to feel validated. If it's not that, if it's coming from a place of wanting to inspire awe, or wanting to, of wanting to like wow somebody, but in a particular way, that's more of a service type. That's from service, I've noticed, is that when I was making, because I'm just trying to think, when I was making these animations, I remember what I was thinking, and I was thinking, it isn't just I wanted people to be through the senses be stimulated from watching this, which is that's part of it, but part of it was also that when you play the game, it is all feeding into an attitude, which I talk about in my last devlog. The attitude of like self-control, the attitude of perfectionism, the attitude of all the spiritual stuff I've thought about that the entire game is imbued with. And my challenge was, people need to be reminded of this attitude. They need to be shown this attitude. They need a environment to develop this attitude, because that's the games that I played growing up did this. And that attitude is what I employ in my work. When I sit here, like, doing over little details and whatnot, and when I'm wanting to, like, a video to hit a certain way or whatever, I actually was trained to think like that by the games I played, because the games I played rewarded, finishing things a certain way, getting a certain result, and retrying the thing and not burning out to do that. The environment through which I learned that was through, like, old games. And what I see it as, well, my game, what is it really, why is it serving people really? What is it really serving? And when I think about it, it's like, well, it's an environment for people to develop that attitude, which they can then take with them to other things. But they need a cool, safe, low-stakes environment to develop that with. Oh, Tomok, my guy, good to see you. Thanks so much for the 10.
Only that it was going to be worth it. The voices once the game us out. Hopefully.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much for the 10. But yeah, the voices always have the answer. That is correct. But it will be worth it. I know it will be worth it. So, yeah. So I guess to bring it back, to summate that point up, if it's from service, you're thinking more like that, where it's, if you're coding some feature, like you were saying you were getting stuck on coding, right? And it's like, well, is the feature you're coding contributing to this whole continuum here? Because maybe it isn't, and maybe that's why you're feeling kind of burnt out, where it's like, oh, this feature I'm coding is actually just not important, maybe. But and you have to have a degree of discernment to know the difference. It's hard to do that sometimes. But if it is the case where it's like, all right, well, this thing I'm coding, like for me at least, my version of this was having her backflips look a certain way. And the thing is, the reason why that's correct is the incorrect way is if I wanted to add some other thing, like, what's an unnecessary thing? I'm trying to think. If I wanted to give her a sword, let's just say, because people say, oh, give her a sword, give her a gun or something. If I went and spent all this time giving her a gun or a sword and making all these slashing animations, I probably would have had more crisis points, because I know that spiritually that is not helping my goal. It's not helping my offering do what it needs to. That's kind of a distraction that it offers something else. It might offer another experience, which is fine, but it's not what I want to offer. It's not what I'm intending. Another game that has, like, Devil May Cry or something, that will choose to do swords or something, they will do it better because they are offering that. Like, that's kind of, they have a more streamlined offering that needs that, whereas my offering doesn't need that. And when you have part of some task you're doing that is not part of the spirit of your offering or the attitude of the thing, I've noticed that's when I have more crisis. So when I was doing, I don't know if you guys remember some of in the devlogs where I tried doing the open world, and I was really stuck on what levels to do. Adventures of Development. Thanks for the 10.
So is 2025 for the release date possible?
No. 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 Like Tomok said, it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. But it also means it's going to take time. So, yeah. But I appreciate the support. It does help. But there is a lot to do. Part of the reason I've been working on these devlogs is to show you all of that, because there is a lot that's happened, but there's still a lot to go, but most people don't know because I haven't talked about it. So that's what this is all about. But I don't know. I don't want to promise dates. Every time I do, it doesn't. Man, even AAA people can't predict the future, so I'm not going to try. All I will tell you is that I want to continue forward, because that's the thing, is that well, there's a lot of reasons why. I don't know if I need to get into all of them, but all I can promise is that I will continue putting in my best, and there is a point at which I will know when it's ready, but I don't know when. I just know that there is a point, and I know where to stop, but I don't know when that will be. But I know where to stop. But it's just a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and I'm probably going to need to do a few more things as well. Just because, it's expensive to do all this. So I appreciate the super chats, but you'll have to wait, but it will be worth it. That's the thing as well. Because I've noticed, I know a lot of people want things now. That's sort of the consumerist culture we're in right now, where everything wants things immediately. And I've noticed that, I don't know, it's worth to resist that a little. If you cave too much to that, the result suffers. Because I've known people that have done that, where they thought to themselves, well, we have to release it now, and then it wasn't ready, and they like undid, like, all the years of work they done kind of were for nothing, because they should have spent another year on it instead of releasing when they did. I've seen that story happen a lot, so I'm not too worried about the when, but it's I know that when it does happen, there's a specific way I want it to go, and that's what matters to me more. Because again, it has to be a worthy offering, and I don't think by the end of this year it will still not be a worthy enough offering for a release. So that's sort of how I think about it. It would be tempting, though. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's tempting to want to just rush it out and make money. But I don't know, it feels like that's not the way I ought to play it. But yeah. Just wondering? Oh, well, thanks. Well, I appreciate that. Because I know... I don't know, most of the time when people ask that, they're usually angry. So I always try to I try to have my prepared answer that's like acknowledging that people want it, but also trying to explain why that's just not how it is most of the time. Because I am just one guy in his room. I don't have like a abundant funding source where I can speed things up as quickly, and there's there's a lot of stuff I don't. I mean, I don't know. The thing is, I have everything in terms of staffing or whatever. I want to keep going at the way I'm going at it. It's just, hopefully I can keep sustaining long enough to get the outcome I want, But I do appreciate that people want to play it, though, because it kind of, it kind of does look fun. It's hard for me to acknowledge sometimes because I look at it so much. But I guess it's a good sign if people want it sooner, because you wouldn't want it if it looked bad. So I guess that's a good sign. But I don't know. I try not to think about that too much. I try not to judge it too much. But because the thing I don't want to do is think it's good when it isn't. That's the mistake I see a lot of the time. So I'm trying not to do that. Or it's like, oh, this rocks, but it actually sucks. Because I don't know. I've just noticed people have a tough time judging their own work. But I do very much appreciate the people that have been following the adventure, the journey and stuff, and have been supporting me through it so that I can get it to the point where it is the right offering. Because that's ultimately, I think, what that's what I want to do. It's the journey to make the right offering, I guess you could say. Afra says, do you have more core mechanics that need to be added? In terms of core, no. I'm pretty satiated with what's here. I think this is all I need. There are a few non-core things that I want to embellish with. I don't know if I should go into all. There's not a lot of them, but there's just a few more little sophisticated accents, you could say, that will make the game more fun in terms of scoring. But in terms of Gabby's actual moves, I'm not planning on adding more. I think this is sufficient. So no. But the thing is You know, a lot of people think adding mechanics is like, oh, if you need to add more mechanics, it'll be more work, which yes. But even like, actually most of the work is not in adding mechanics, but it's using them effectively. And what I predict is that a lot of the rest of development, once I catch everyone up and get back to working on these, it's going to be using the mechanics well. Because you can't just chuck in, oh, I've got 10 mechanics. I have 10 mechanics. That's awesome. And then she has like 10 fighting stances and 5 weapons. And like, I've seen games that do that. And to me, it just speaks unconfident, because it's like, all right, well, you lack the confidence to know what to do with these. So you've just added more. So you've added like skateboarding, or you've added a hoverboard, or you've added like 10 guns, or what. I just see it happen a lot. Sometimes it is deliberate and it works, but a lot of the time it's not. It's just because they don't know what to do with the mechanics. So it's like, well, if I add 10 more, it'll be good, which I have been tempted to do, and I have done, and I've undone. And it's to the point now where I'm like, look, whatever I've got now, the homing attack thing, the wall running, and the climbing, I think that's enough. You know, if I can't make something good with those, then it's over. You know what I mean? Like, that should be enough, you know? I should be able to just do a good job with those. That's what I think. I don't think a game is judged on the amount of mechanics it has. So, yeah. Adventure says, I also played the old demo and liked it. Wow, really? That's surprising, because I didn't. Well, in that case, when the mission is finished, you will really like this. If you thought that demo was good, you are... Wow, well. I keep forgetting that the last version of this you've played was that version. Because I really don't... the current itch build that is there, oh man, it's terrible. I always get surprised when people say they enjoy it. I can't stand it personally. I tried to replay it a few days ago, and I couldn't for more. After a minute, I'm like, oh, this sucks, and I just went back to my version here. But I appreciate that though. Thanks. Old demo gang, rise up. Well, that's good then. If people even like that, then you are going to be blown away, because you're just watching this. There is a demo I'm working towards. That's by the end of this year. That is my goal. Not to have the whole thing finished, but I want to have a demo. That's been my goal. And I think a lot of what I'm saying will make sense when that day comes, and it'll be worth it. Cheese Dragon says, I got a question. I'll go for it. Shoot. Hungry says, I've never played the old demo. I'd really like to try the current one. I know, but this one is not ready yet, okay? There's still a bunch of bugs, and I have to do a bunch of stuff first, because making a demo does cost money, so I have to get me some videos out, get some ad revenue going, so I can keep working on this thing, get some more, whatever I can. And then, I'm working on it slowly but steadily, So one day you will... My goal for just this year is the demo. That's kind of that's all I want to be able to do. I just want to do a really good demo. And in terms of like what the rest of it will be like, because one of the reasons I don't like predicting dates is that there's always new data as you keep going, and it changes the outcomes a lot. So I think once that is done and I've got this whole level done up, finished, it'll be much easier to judge the rest of the journey at that point. But yeah, this is not quite ready, because firstly, the textures are all not done. The mechanics still have bugs in the sense... I'm sure the actual demo... You see how I just clipped through the floor? So there's that. I try to hide it, but there is lots of weird clipping problem. There's also this problem where she will like ledge grab... If she goes up an incline that's at a certain angle, she will like start ledge grabbing through the floor. So yeah, this is definitely not ready. And then yeah, there's stuff like this. The ledge grab is so broken. That's kind of the main issue, is the ledge grabbing is just sucks. There's some weird UI glitches as well. There's some mission glitches. It's like very much still rough, but it is presentable enough at the moment that I've tricked people into thinking there aren't issues, which is why you guys keep, I want to play it right now so bad. Trust me, if you actually got your hands on it, you wouldn't want it. It's like, oh man, this is not finished. Boo, this stinks. That's what you'd say. So thankfully, I've at the moment, I've given you the impression that it's good, but it's just the impression. There's still a bunch of the beneath the iceberg work before it's ready for public consumption. The game's fun if you know how to avoid the bugs, which is not good enough for a Steam demo. I know people think that's good enough, but it's not. I've seen people do it, and trust me, it is not good enough for a Steam demo. So, yeah. So I do appreciate people's patience with it, because there's a lot of invisible work. But yeah, the reason it looks good while I'm playing it is because I'm avoiding the flaws, because I know how to avoid making it look bad. But most people that play it won't know how to do that. So the trick is not just actually finishing the thing, but it's making it sturdier so that someone that isn't me can play it and not break it as easily. So yeah. Do I have any plans on how the next demo will be structured? Well, not really a plan. I just have a vision. I know that I just want it to be this level, and I just want it to be presented as if it was... The idea is the demo is... Because this is going to be on the Steam page. Part of the reason with that is... Well, part of the thing is... Because the last demo I have is itch only, and the thing is that itch... culturally has lower standards than Steam. So that's why it was kind of acceptable to put that on itch. But that current thing that I've got on itch, on Steam, no, big mistake. That would make people angry if I did that. So it has to meet Steam's standards, Steam's customers' standards, which is higher than itch. And what I know will work is if this is having a completely start to end finish of like one good level that's art directed properly, that's got that's laid out properly, that isn't just kit bashed with random crap, that's actually done nice. That's what this lab level is for. That's the purpose of it, and that's the plan, is to make that. But to do that, there's a lot of stuff there's a lot of periphery work I have to do as well. People who watch the streams would enjoy the buggy mess. I mean, that could be, but that's not most people. So it's not most people, and that's who you have to please most people, at least with Steam. So the thing is, because if I put this on Steam now, which, bad idea, I wouldn't. But if I were to, you guys would be able to play it and you would appreciate it. But what would happen is there'd be like 80% of people that stumble across it that don't watch the streams would find it, and they would complain. They would play it and go, oh, this is cool, but like all this stuff is broken, which I already know. Like, I know that it's broken, but I'm going to be constantly being emailed, probably be sent death threats or something, whatever it is. Gamers are very passionate, and this is not me trying to say that gamers are I'm not trying to say that's wrong. I know why they're doing it. It's because they're passionate and they feel very strongly about things, and that's good. It tells me that they care, but I have to be ready. I have to be deserving of that. I can't just put up something that I know is bad. There are consequences if I do that, and I know what the consequences are. So I'm being very deliberate about it, and what it does mean is that you have to delay gratification, which, yeah, it's difficult, but it is worth it, I think. So it means that I can't put it out immediately, but it means that when it is ready, it'll hit nice. Because you'll be hopefully less disappointed than if I had done it now, sort of thing. Because especially, I don't know, because it's a bit hard to judge. Because I think a lot of people that watch streams like this probably are game developers as well, and they understand how to judge a game that's in development. But that's not most people. Most people have no clue how to actually judge a game. You have to, so you have to be ready. And you can't put out like junk. So it's Yeah. So that's kind of the because also the first impression is most important. If the first impression people have on the Steam audience, if the first impression they get is this half finished thing with no walls, with clips everywhere, that is not a good first impression, and that will have consequences. So as much as I want to satiate people's desire for a immediate gratification, I've had to defer that a long time. But I know that, I don't know, I've noticed that any good choice always requires delayed gratification. So if anything I've ever done ever, I've just noticed this with everything, if it requires gratification to be delayed, it's the right choice. Like almost all the time. So that's what I've observed anyway. Now, someone wanted to ask me a question. I don't know if I've caught it here. What version of UE is best for a game for this art style? Honestly, I don't know. The best version is the version you know. That's what I will say. The best version is what you know. The thing is, I'm sure people would say that Unreal 3 is better for this, or that Unreal 4.26 is actually better than 0.27 or whatever. But the thing is, I'm familiar with this version. I know how to make this version do what I want most of the time. Well, not really. But I know how to do what I want in this version because I am familiar with it to a degree. Familiarity is what you want. And then with that, you can make whatever. If that is UE 5.2 or 5.6 or whatever, then that will be your version. If that's what you're familiar with. Because the thing is, and that's kind of what annoyed me about my I'm not switching to Unreal video, is that a lot of people took it as just Unreal 5 bashing, but that's actually not the point. The thing is, Unreal 5 is probably fine. It's just that the reason why a lot of games use it suck is that the people using it aren't familiar with the engine. That's actually the reason it's not because Unreal 5 itself, although there's a degree to which that's the case too, because the people that are working on Unreal 5 are not the same people that were working on Unreal 4. But there's a large degree to which a lot of the people jumping ship to UE, which is most of the companies like the Halo team and all those people, the actual problem is that they're not familiar with the tool. And that's why whatever they make in it sucks. It's not because of the tool, it's just because they don't know how to execute their will. And that takes time. It doesn't take upgrades, it takes time. So to answer that, the best version to get this look is whatever version you know. And just do that. If you know how to turn off all the effects in 5.6, do it in 5.6. If you know how to do it in 3, for whatever reason, then do it in 3. What I wouldn't do is, there is no magic version that will just do it. So I don't know. It's like, for me, I started on 4 point whatever it was, because that's just what was new at the time, and I just stayed on it. So Unreal, like this is 4.27, and it's probably not the objective best whatever, but I am familiar with this version because I've used this version the longest, and it's just more worth it for me to do it in the version I know. So yeah, level is looking good. Thanks, Luca. Closed demo accessible only from Steam. I've thought about something like that, but there's a lot of logistical complications with something like that. There's also not an incentive either, because you also got to think, because a demo serves a purpose. It doesn't accomplish any of my goals releasing it in the state it's in now. I don't get anything from it, because I don't want feedback on it now, because I already know what to do. And I don't and in terms of leaving an impression, it's not going to do that because it's not ready to. So there's not really a point. The only, I think I've noticed with demos, the only reason there would be to do some kind of closed access thing is if there was either, well, not even either. I think the only reason to do that is if there is a financial incentive to. So if I've noticed that games with Kickstarters do this, where they have that as a reward, where if you have some kind of Kickstarter thing, the reward is like exclusive demo access. That would be a good reason to do, because then you're actually getting something in exchange for letting people play it, which is support. But I don't have a $100,000 campaign at the moment. But maybe one day, but that's not me right now. So that's when making a closed demo is worth it, is when you have like a $100,000 like campaign or something, and you're actually getting paid to, like, that makes it sensible. Because having a demo out is a responsibility. You don't just chuck it up there and leave it. It's a responsibility as well. You got to maintain it, and you got to watch feedback for it. And that's not something I need to do now. Like I know I have my own feedback I need to get through first, and all that stuff. So there is a point where I will want external feedback, but it is not now. I know that there is a point though where I will want it, but it's not. It's later. Now, I've answered a lot of questions. Hungry says, please take your time, I'm patient. Thank you so much, Hungry. Well, yeah, so part of the thing is that I know that the rest, look, it's a long voyage. And I used to be bothered by that, but I'm kind of not anymore, because I found that the longest voyages are the most rewarding. And I think my thing is, I would rather the voyage be special and important than fast, because I've seen lots of fast voyages that were unremarkable, that had a bad outcome. So part of I guess I'll move on to my next little thing I was wanting to show before I get going, because in terms of the editing and stuff, because again, all the stuff I've just talked about at the level and demo, by the way, this is something that's in the pipeline for a video as well. So that's why I haven't been working on this directly, but I have been working on the Gabby devlog, because then once that's done, there's like 2 more episodes of other things, and then there is a devlog about all of this. And then once that's out, I can then keep working on this, because, then I've got some more videos out, getting some revenue to like help me continue the work. So there's that as well. And part of the thing is that, what was I going to say? So part of it as well is, I think how a game is made is kind of more important than how fast it's made, if that makes sense. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to, because part of the other thing I've been doing this week is the website design. I didn't have a lot of time to work on it, but I've been trying to just finalize the layout and the color scheme. So I only had maybe a few hours this week to work on it, and I'm really bad at web design still. I'm a noob, but I've been trying. Because part of my reason of having this around is so that, because the devlogs take a while, and I know people, I think what I would, because I know one thing I want is communication. I find is a good cure. It's a good substitute for if things take a while, which they should. Things that are good quality do take a while. But I think what I've noticed is that people don't like that as much, because it feels like you're being starved, I guess you could say, where it's like you want something nourishing and you want that to be the game, but the game needs time, so you want something else. And that's probably why people are getting kind of bored. So that's part of what this little blog thing is going to be for, is because this writing is low maintenance and fast, because you don't have to edit and find footage and work for the algorithm and all this stuff. So to satiate you guys in the short term, that's part of why I wanted to build this, is so that as I'm doing all this, you're going to be glad that it's going the way it's going, if that makes sense. I'll be able to more easily keep in touch with you guys through this thing. The thing is that I'm just trying to make it look good first, and be easy to read, so that you don't want to click off it immediately. So there's still a few issues. I'm trying to do this thing where there's a nav. I've moved the nav bar from the side to the top, and I want it to be in the top of the screen on this white column, but there's a lot of issues, CSS problems that I still haven't worked out on how to do that. But I want like this sort of header bar. So yeah, don't judge this yet. It's still very much a work in progress. But I want to move this nav bar over to the top and have it sort of stick to the top of the screen. And I want the footer here down at the bottom. And then I'm going to have a background, and that'll probably be all the visual stuff I have to do. And then I don't have this loaded into the site yet, but I've also in the background been reorganizing and cataloging the stuff I'm going to post, because I have a lot of old posts that I want to put up on this thing. So there's a lot of insight in those that I haven't put in devlogs. I guess you could call it the pathos, stuff from the pathos that I've written over the years that I want to put. So it'll make it so that it'll give you something to satiate your stomachs in the meantime, because and you'll probably learn some interesting things as well, because I don't know, most people probably don't care, but all this stuff, like this thing I've got open now, this is the thing I have to make a video on still. That's probably going to be a few months from now. But all of this stuff is like my thought process on textures and the adventure of learning of, how to texture like Quake mappers, how to actually learn design. Like this is all the stuff that is like beneath the iceberg that you have to think about, which is why, like, trust me, when you understand this stuff, you're like, well, thank God it's not being rushed, because this is the stuff this is what makes stuff good, and you can't rush this. This is I don't know, it's probably what AAAs can't recognize. It's called effort. No, I'm just kidding. AAAs are okay. But this is all the invisible work. But the thing is, because making videos on this is time consuming. So I want to at least have something where I can communicate this to you in the short term faster, so that those that are more attentive can read about it here, and then in a few weeks or a few months, you then get to see the devlog about it. But the essence of it is all here, really. And I want to do something maybe weekly with this, where I'm just sort of posting like parts of the, kind of like a log. The reason I want to do it here though is because YouTube does not, you can't do this on YouTube, unfortunately, just of how it works. Like, the quality, I don't know, it wouldn't work it has to be in this format. The format does shape the message a lot. So I've been trying to work more a bit on that. I know it's been kind of slow. I've just been mostly editing most of this week. It's just been getting through this. But trust me, this will be a good video when it drops. It'll be amazing. But yeah, but I have had some people write to me lately with some very interesting messages about this sort of web design stuff and the stuff I was talking about in that video. And I appreciate those who took the time to write. I don't always get time to reply to everybody, but some of you sent some very, what would you say, thoughtful messages with similar insights. And I appreciate that. It's nice to know that I'm not the only one that thinks about all of this other stuff. But yeah, strawberry the colors look very cozy. Oh, thank you so much. Well, yeah, I'm actually oh man, maybe I could write a whole thing about, because I put a lot of thought into the colors, and they aren't just random. I don't know if you guys know much about 1950s design. I don't want to turn this into a big tangent. But one of my favorite aesthetics of all time is the mid-century modern, what does it say? Architectural style. That's sort of what my room looks like. It's sort of in this style. All the walls are painted with, they're like a cream color, just like the background. So I took photos of my wall and stuff and color picked from those to pick these out, because I want it to feel like my room. So it matches my room. But it's this sort of architectural style that was popular in the 50s. That's kind of what I've based it on. And I really love this style for some reason. I don't know why. It feels very human. One thing that's very disappointing to see is that a lot of, I had an old friend of mine, he like moved apartments once, and the place he moved into was built recently. Like it was built in the last 5 years. And for whatever reason, nobody builds stuff like this anymore, and it's all it's like black and white. Like that's I don't know, maybe some of you have this as well, where you look around at furniture and walls of new buildings, they're all black and white and gray, and the lights that they might have installed are like fluorescent white, like an office building. for whatever reason, I just get psychic damage. But when I look at this with warm cream, yellow, green, blue, this is opposite psychic damage. This is psychic healing, and I don't know why. You know, actually, I think I might know. Maybe I might know, because I noticed that this was kind of weird when I realized this, but this sort of color palette is a very human palette, in the sense that I remember the other day I was like brushing my teeth, and I just looked at the colors of my face and realized it was the same as this, in terms of like the blue, the skin tone, and the browns and the maroons and stuff. Like brown is a very key color in this, and my hair is brown, and my skin is a similar color to this of the walls. And I thought, oh well, maybe that's why people like it. It's because, you know, it's like the white person color palette. if you're white with brown hair and blue eyes, that's sort of the same. I don't know. Like, I really like this color scheme. Maybe that's why, because my actual body is that color scheme. So I want it to feel like me when you're on this site. I don't want it to feel like some corporate website, some Squarespace template. I want it to feel like, oh, you're in Raymond's site. This is Raymond's house now, type thing. So that's how I want it to feel. I want it to feel very special. Yeah, it's just my CSS skills are garbage. So that's why a lot of it is still broken. But I'm working on it. I'll probably do some more this weekend of trying to get this header bar, because I want these buttons at the top, but I don't know how to, and I want to have a cool little drawing on the side. I did have this thing with the background where I've got to change the hue of this. It's the wrong shade of yellow, but I've got the render of Gabby on the side that kind of scales with this, and I got to flip it around to be the opposite way. I've got it flipped the wrong direction. But then I want to have like a soft textured in the background, and that's got to be the design. And then it's just sorting the content. So I'm using this thing called Go Hugo to make this, which is like a static site builder framework, and it's pretty cool, but I don't know how to use it fully yet. So I've got some things like tags, but I want to get rid of these dates where you go to like, because I want you to be able to browse by topic, where you've got like devlogs and level design, character design in tags. But the tag, yeah, it's just a bunch of things where the tags work. Like this is tagged devlog, but on the lists, it shows dates under all of them. And I only want it to do it some of the time. I don't want the dates on the tags, but I want them on the devlog lists, because Hugo sorts, there's two types of pages. There's singles and lists. Singles are like this, where it's just an article, and lists are like this, where it auto-generates a list of hyperlinks to other pages. But for whatever reason, when I modified the template, I want to add dates to some of them, but not all of them. But I don't know if there's a way you can change the lists for some pages and not. I don't know if there's a way to do that. But I've struggled. I'm working it out. Okay, I'm not a great programmer, but I'm working on it. It'd be cool if the background had a wallpaper texture. Yeah, I agree. So I'll have to cook up something, because it does look a bit plain. I'm thinking either like a paper sketchbook texture, and maybe having the background be a bunch of like photos of sketches or something, or like some kind of old. I don't want to do too 1950s, because you'll notice that these don't have textures. Maybe they have like wood and like carpet, maybe that, but they don't have like old wallpaper. But man, this is pleasant to look at. Imagine if people still built stuff like this. That'd be sick. But most importantly, I don't want it to be too busy, because if it's too busy, oh, this is beautiful. Look at this. Oh, sorry, I could talk about architecture all day. But anyway, so that's how the site is going. I appreciate people have been patient with this as well. It's just because it's a new skill I'm learning, because I'm not a web designer. So I'm learning a new skill while also trying to do this other stuff. But once it's done, it's done. So I won't have to worry about it once I get over this. Adding and maintaining it will be a piece of cake. So there's that. So delayed gratification, guys. Once it's done, you will be gratified. And it'll be delayed, but it will be gratifying. How do I feel about assisted coding? I don't know what that is. I don't really keep up to date with anything. So I have no clue what assisted coding is. You'll have to explain. Gamma says Hugo is great, very powerful once you've dug through the docs. Yeah, I have been reading a lot of the docs, but a lot of it just kind of goes over my head. So I've been trying. I've been trying to apply. I got to apply myself, as Walter White would say. So I'm applying myself. And you know, it'll be good. It'll be good. But I really do look forward to this being done, and I hope that it is sooner than later, because I have so much I want to share with you guys about all this. And I think, you know, there's a lot I want to say about the web as well, but we'll save that for another. Maybe I should make a video on it. But I do want to, I think you will not, I think it'll make people, because the thing is, I'm trying to think, I don't know. It'll make the journey more bearable is sort of what I think. Because I think if I've noticed that I want to be more communicative. That's one thing I wanted to do more. And it's hard to do with devlogs, because for them to be algorithmically viable, you have to do a lot of work that interferes with consistency. So I want to be, part of my motivation for this is that I want to be able to communicate more consistently without having to make this a viral video every time. So I think that'll make the journey more fun for you, because I know for me, I'm stimulated all the time. I'm always busy, but you guys don't see most of it. So I think it'll help you guys with your you know, it'll help, I guess, follow the journey where you aren't you won't be as in a rush, because you'll actually, I want to kind of take you guys through the stuff I think about more. The thing is, like I said, yeah, that's very pathos stuff. So YouTube does not, most people on YouTube don't want to watch pathos, but that's kind of, I've noticed, where blogs come in. So that's, yeah. Q&A are pretty cool. Oh, maybe I could do a Q&A section on here as well. I don't know. You know, actually there was some old, I don't know who it was. This was like 2009. There was some creator I remember, and they would do these things called mailbags, where they would just take a bag of questions and just answer them in batches at a consistent thing. So I don't know, maybe that's I don't know. I thought that was cool. It's as a format, because I don't see stuff like that anymore, really. It's all just top 5 tips or I made Minecraft in a day type stuff. AI. Oh, that's what assisted coding is? AI coding? Okay. Well, I don't know if I feel I mean, I haven't done it. I don't trust it. So I guess my stance is I don't like it. I've never tried it though. I don't have an interest in it. This is literally just the first I'm hearing about it. I don't know. It doesn't, I don't know. Sounds lame. Sorry if that sounds too harsh. But I don't know, man. The voices are telling me that it's lame, so I'm going to say it's lame. Vibe coding. What the hell is vibe coding? No. You guys are just pulling my leg. No. I gotta fact check this. This is not a real thing. Oh my god. Jesse, what in the hell is this? What is this? Oh look, a subreddit for me. I'm out of the loop. What is this? Oh no. Alright. Yeah, I'm avoiding the hell out of this. No, man. The voices are screaming. Voices in my head are screaming. This isn't good. I don't know. I don't know, man. I know that's probably not a good... I know it's a very emotional response. Blue milk. What makes you feel it's lame? I'm not sure I understand. Well, it sounds to me like you like it. So I think it might be hard. Because here's the thing. Because I don't know tech bro people. I don't talk to tech bros. I used to. I don't anymore. I'm a boomer. Okay, that's one thing you need to know about. If you're first time here, I am, what would you say? I guess I'm a spiritual boomer when it comes to stuff. I I don't know. I don't care about new stuff a lot of the time, as I guess a more precise thing. So, you know, the latest version of Unreal, the latest coding technique, the latest, you can generate maps with a click. Like, that stuff to me, I avoid because I just know that it's bad. And the reason is because it lowers the bar. And when you lower the bar too low, it opens the floodgates to poor craftsmanship. And poor craftsmanship has consequences, because then you raise a generation of kids that don't know how to write code. And I think in 20 years' time, you will understand what I'm talking about. I don't know how to explain this to someone who isn't me, so if this sounds harsh or judgmental, don't take it personally. This is literally the first I'm hearing of it, and I'm having a raw reaction right now. But I've noticed that, I don't know, maybe most people aren't like this, but for me, I'm very set in my ways. For me, I have a voice in my head that tells me what the right way is, and it's telling me that this is not it. And every time I listen to the voice, I get the result I want. And when I don't listen to the voice, I suffer. And I don't know if the people doing this have a similar mechanism. I know that there are people that live that can't imagine an apple in their head. They can't visualize it. So I don't know if this is the same thing. But, you know, like, I always am suspicious when things are too easy. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It's never a good thing if it's too easy. I don't know if that makes sense. So I don't know. Belkmaster. I don't know, because I don't know you. I don't know what your MO is or whatever. I don't know how you think, but I am very much like old. I think for my game, I'm hand painting my textures. I'm not using Substance Designer and AutoGen. I'm not doing Smart Materials. I'm not doing ZBrush. I'm not doing nanite stuff with my, like, that's me. That's who you're talking to. I think just on principle, I'm also not really a fan of this either, because it's the same attitude of this other stuff that I also don't like, of lowering the bar of entry, which is, you know, not always bad. It's just there's an equilibrium, and I think there are times where the bar gets too low, and I think this is one of those times. The thing is, here's why I'm suspicious. I'm trying to think about this more, because I know this is not a good answer. But if I had to think more about it, it's that it gives you an immediate result. That's the appeal of this, isn't it? Vibe coding. Generate, like, you type in I want my code to do this, and you get an instant result of, oh, here's the code that does it. Now, if you've done anything, in my experience, any result that is instant is bad most of the time. If you do something and the result is immediate, it is usually a low quality result. And the insidious thing is that if you are only thinking of the present, you will not notice. But if you're thinking of the future, you will notice consequences in 10 years or 20 or whatever. Over a time span, it creates debt and adds up. What I don't like about this, and the people I imagine this attracts, is that it attracts people focused on the present, that want an easier time in the present, that are focused in the now, in the present. And I've noticed from people I've met, people who are only thinking of the present think not of the future. And if you're thinking only of the present, you will accrue debt that is not visible in the present, that is only visible in the future, that will need to be paid. And I just have a feeling if you're doing like a game with this, especially a game, because games in particular, the audience have high standards and they notice things more so than app users, you could say. Gamers are very passionate and they notice more. And if you give this to a gamer, they won't know why, but they will know that it's vibe coded. They won't know why it is. They won't know the terminology. They will not, but they will know. And I know that that's the case because the game will feel apathetic, because the attitude that this encourages of immediate gratification will come through in the result. And gamers are hypersensitive to that. Others as well, but gamers in particular, because you'll notice that gamers complain the most, which is actually a good thing sometimes. But I just know this is... Thanks so much, Luca, for the 5.
Most of that AA slop on PSN was done with vibe coding.
I mean, yeah. I mean, hey, well, look, we have a noticer right here. Luca has noticed. See, it didn't even have to be hypothetical. People in my chat are noticing this. The gamers are noticing, okay? So, do we want to look at that again? PSN store. That's probably true. And if that's all you want, that's fine. I'm not trying to make a value judgment. I'm judging this on my values. If you disagree, that's fine. I don't care. This is just, you're asking my opinion. If you don't care about this, then you don't have to, but you will get what you deserve if you don't care about this. I don't even know where to browse for it because here's the trick. You can't even find this stuff easy because it doesn't do well. But stuff like this looks AI generated. This cover art looks AI generated. I don't know what this isn't as clear. But what was that game? There was a specific the recycling game. Or this looks AI generated. Yeah. See, well, they don't have screenshots on the web version. I think if you have the mobile app, it shows you the screenshots. This actually looks kind of okay. But the what was it? We had to browse by latest, was it? I don't know where it was. Browse. So you have to dig for this stuff. But it's coming out all the time. This is what most people are doing. You go to sort. They've changed this layout again. Where the hell is it? Recent. I want new. I want new. There we go. Let's have a look. Yeah, there we go. No, there was one in particular. It was like some ninja fight. What a name. But it was called Ninja Fight. And I remember it because it looked but yeah, like it's this stuff. This is vibe. This is what vibe coding does. You probably can get this with vibe coding. Now the thing is, oh my god, what the hell? All right, kids, cover your eyes. Cover your eyes, children. There's some not safe for work stuff here. Tong Sahur runner. Okay. See, this is what I'm talking about. So I know this is very abstract, but this is what I'm talking about. When you set the bar too low, this is what you allow. A game that's worth 75 cents. Now, oh, it's so cheap. Oh my god, I can afford this game. Yes, but like, did this have to exist? This is an offering. Remember how I was saying before, that it's an offering? Would any of you buy a game that's 75 cents? Even if it was only 75 cents? Like, would any of you actually buy this? Would like 100%, be 100% real. Would you actually buy this? I wouldn't. And I know this seems like, oh, I'm judging the visuals. That's not quite it. This is symptomatic of attitude. Like I was saying in my devlog, artifacts of attitude. This is an artifact of attitude, but the attitude it is offering is that of apathy, which is why they haven't even bothered to fix the smeary text in the corner. This doesn't say anything. It's just smeary AI text. This isn't even lined up. This is a different texture than that. The windowsill is crooked. The perspective is wrong. There's blur. Like, oh, I have to click off. I'm noticing too much. But this is what happens when you don't care. You will only ever make stuff that's worth 75 cents. And this, I guarantee, was coded with the same attitude as the visuals. More often, I know there's no way that someone like did a, computer science major and coded this in assembly only to do these visuals. There's no way. This was vibe coded for sure, and it was vibe graphicked, you could say. Look at this. This is vibe graphics. That's what this was. And that's a problem. Why is that a problem? I'm trying to, because I know that this is a very judgmental, but I'm trying to actually reason this out to give you a good, high-quality answer. I take issue with this because it does not reward craft. It does not reward craft because you don't have to think about what you're doing. And I think people that vibe code or that AI image or whatever, I don't know what the verbiage is, but the people that do this, they are doing it because they don't want to think about what they're doing. They want 75. They want their 75 cents. They want their 100. I don't even know. Like this, there's no way this is profitable. Or maybe it is. If it costs nothing to make, maybe it's profitable. But it's like the bottom. It's like bottom feeder stuff. And if you want to be a bottom feeder, that's fine. But some people don't want to be bottom feeders. And if you want to be better than a bottom feeder, you have to do things the hard way. And there is a reward. I have faith there is a reward for doing things the hard way, insofar as that the attitude imbued in your work will be an enduring one. But this will not endure. This will not. And it depends, like this is a very much depending on your like pathology or your beliefs, I guess. This isn't like a right or wrong thing. The people that don't care will not see an issue with this, and they will not agree with me, which is fine. You don't have to agree with me. But this is probably the best you will do. And if that's acceptable, cool. But I'm not that. I don't accept this. But if you accept this, that's your choice. If you want to do that, that's fine. I'm not going to stop you if that's what you want to do. If you want to make 100 games that are 75 cents, that's fine. I don't want to do that. So I personally wouldn't use it. This vibe coding stuff, whatever this is, all of this, like, because I want to achieve I have different goals. I think that's a better way of putting it. I have different goals. My goal is not to do stuff like this. My goal is maybe to do something more like this, because this looks cool. And I've actually heard of this. That's and that to me is like this other stuff that's vibe coded. Like, how many of you have actually heard of these? Supermarket Anime Collectors Simulator. Have any of you heard of that? Project Zombie. Actually, that's priced a bit better than this. Maybe that is, I don't know. Brain Rot. What the hell? Was this the one I clicked on? No, this is a different one. This is the same character, but it's a different... Like, have any of you heard of this? I've never heard of these. So that's the price, and that's what I'm talking about with this vibe code. The price, yes, your code is easy, and you don't have to think about it, and it's, I get an instant result. Oh my god, my code is great. But the price you pay is no one hears about you. No one cares about you, because you don't care. That's why you're vibe coding it in the first place, probably, is that you don't want to do it. You care so little, you don't want to even work on it, so you want someone else to code it for you. And that has consequences. It's the circle of life, you could say. And this other one, why is it the same character showing up? And why I don't know. I can't look at this anymore. I can't watch anymore. But yeah, but that's me. You don't have to agree with me. But you're asking my opinion. That's my opinion. I don't want to make that. I don't want to make Tongue Simulator. And Belk says this problem existed before AI. I agree. Yes, it did, absolutely. But AI has exacerbated the problem tenfold. The problem did exist, but it was mitigated by the fact that you still have to actually do stuff manually. But now, I think there's a Pandora's box that's been opened through AI that has exacerbated this problem. That did exist already. Yes, it did exist already, but it's now much worse. And that has consequences too, because I'm competing with, that's my competition now. So I have to put up with this. There's all this stuff being released that now I have to compete against. And that stuff, that's stuff on the page that's taking impressions away from other people's games that might actually deserve to be there. Like maybe my game will be someday, hopefully. So it takes up bandwidth that you have to compete. It's more sludge in the sewer that you have to wade through to get to the goal. That's what it does. And I think there can come a point where there is too much sewage. That's sort of how I see it. No, you guys had a lot to say in chat here. Cosmic says, that's what's so dangerous about big companies allowing shovelware to dominate their app storefronts. Yeah, I guess so. I think there's more to it than that, though. But yeah. Remulek says, many of them lack foresight. At most, I'll ask an AI what the process is or what the workflow is. Then I'll toss myself into deep... Actually, yeah, that sounds more sensible. I think... Because I don't know... I haven't used this vibe coding. I'm literally only hearing about it now. I think I'd imagine it would be useful if you need to understand an approach, but I wouldn't... I think it's better that you reason it out yourself so that you understand what you're writing and why. Because if you don't, you will pay for that later. And if you don't think so, you're naive. You will pay for it later. Actually, no. You won't pay for it in one condition. There is one condition where you don't pay for it, and that's if you chuck it out as fast as possible and pass the consequences to someone else. That's when it doesn't become important. If you're only spending a week on each game, then you won't face the consequences. But other people will face consequences where the store is now filled with sewage. That's the consequences, but that's Sony's problem and that's the gamer's problem. You're just offsetting the problem to somebody else. And if you don't care, that's fine. That's whatever. But that's a choice that you make. Me personally, I don't mind if people make that choice if they do it deliberately and they actually know that that's what they're doing. What I take issue with more is where there is no deliberate intention, where it's like, I don't even know why I'm doing this. That's what and that's something AI encourages, but it's not to say that's everyone. I'll give it that. It's not everyone, but I just have noticed that a lot of the people I know that do this stuff are not thinking. And they don't have an intent. And that's what I actually have an issue with. If it can be demonstrated that they can be used with intent and ethically, then I don't have as much of a problem. It's just because it encourages you not to think, and that's what I have an issue with. That's sort of, I guess, my take, if you could call it that. Cosmic says, people want authentic entertainment made with genuine love and passion worth its price. I hope so. And the system that drives the machine doesn't like that. If these companies lower the standard of quality without the consumer noticing, then these companies are winning that game. The goals we should strive for should reflect real passion and craftsmanship that gets people to think, feel, and experience emotion rather than simply numb their brains from instant dopamine. I think you're onto something there, Cosmic. And to add to that, I thought about this a lot. Maybe this will be our little last, because I do have to get going. This will be our last little thing, maybe. I rewatched The Lion King this week, because I was talking about it last stream on how great of a movie it was, but I actually went and rewatched it. And what's interesting about The Lion King, please tell me you guys have all watched it. Not the remake, the original, the 1994. You guys have seen, hopefully you guys have seen that, right? I bring this up because that is an example of I think, the ultimate goal of a product, which is that spiritually it is quite rich and it is financially very successful. And as I've been studying that movie, I've noticed a lot about it, that when you pick up on, it's like, oh, that's not an accident. And it's cool stuff. Unfortunately, though, it used to be the norm, but it isn't anymore. But with the original, it isn't even about the animation and the hand draw, like that's all cool. But I'm not really even talking about that. I'm talking about that's part of it. The story as well. because the team made an offering. That's what it is. That's why it's a good movie. It is an offering. And how many of you remember the story and I've watched it? I recognized recently it was an offering when I was just watching the plot and stuff happen, especially the moment where Simba loses his way and looks out into the lake and Mufasa talks to him through the sky, reminds him of who he is. That is like the heart of the movie. And the offering is that. Because when I saw Mufasa on my little TV there, it felt like God was talking to me directly. It was actually it brought me to tears. Now, Tung Tung Simulator can't do that. Interesting. Why is it that game can't do that, but a 30-year-old movie can? Well, it's an offering to the continuum. And I was talking about the idea of the continuum last stream, and maybe I need to write something on that idea. But it's doing something beyond selling. It's passing something forward to you. It's fulfilling a deep spiritual need. The thing is that is so fascinating, and this is the world I would like to live in, where that is like actually incentivized. Because when The Lion King was released, that was that world. It released in that world. Because The Lion King, I think if I recall, I was looking this up, is the most profitable home video movie ever. Still. Like even today. It's been like 30 years. I think it's like, for VHS, it was the best-selling VHS of all time. I gotta fact check this. I hate that word, but that's what the kids today do. We fact check everything. We got to verify with our sources. So Wikipedia. Oh, my source. I know this is probably the worst source, but this is where was it? Oh, I'll turn dark mode for you guys. Release. Yeah, here we go. All time. Here we go. Because here's the thing. Because this, even if you're only thinking about money, there's something to be said about this, right? Because, so it was released, theatrical run is the highest grossing film, second highest grossing film of all time. Highest grossing animated film until Finding Nemo. Film remains highest grossing traditionally animated film of all time. So that isn't just profitable. That is like giga profitable. That is like of all time profitable. And I hate using this word, but, you know, this is, you know, if you're just thinking like, oh, capitalism or money, this is still probably a good thing to aim for like they're doing more than just that here, but the reward, at least financially, was overwhelming. So even if you're the guy that just wants to make, I just want money, maybe, you know, this, like, there should be a financial incentive for this too. And this is high quality craftsmanship that is also financially rewarded. The thing is that, I don't know, I hope that we are still living in this world, but I feel every passing day that we aren't. I think we're losing I don't think it's completely gone, but I think we are losing the world in which a movie with this level of craft, and I know this is a movie, but this applies to video games, that we are losing the world in which this can happen. Because this is the world I want to live in, where you can make something with craft and soul and be financially rewarded for that. Because, I don't know, it feels like the right equilibrium. It feels like that's how it ought to be. The thing is that the people that did this had to delay gratification to do that. They had to spend like 5 years planning this movie. I'm pretty sure it was something like that. They spent a lot of time, I think it was in the 80s. Yeah, so in 1989, they were like doing scripts for it, and they spent like years writing the movie before even animating it. And it shows, because when you actually watch it, the writing, the script, it's flawless. It is actually perfect, which is why it's a GOAT, you could say. Yeah, here we go. 1988, they started working on this. So it means that you can't just do this in a weekend. You can't do this in 6 months. These guys, and these weren't just your average Joe spending 5-6 years on a movie. This was Disney. And not just Disney, but 1980s Disney. This is prime Disney spending quality time on a quality project. And I want to live in this world. This is the world I want to live in, okay? But you don't... this was not vibe animated. But there's more to it than that, you know? Because to make something that good, it's deliberate. It's when you actually look at the themes of the story and what it's saying, the thing it's offering to you, and the way it's made, it's both of those things. Everything is extremely deliberate. And AI discourages that, which I that's why I worry, is that it discourages you from doing this. But also, like, I don't know, I feel like people should want to do it this way too, because as we've seen, like, I guess the thing that just bothers me personally is that, you know, people want the fast way because, oh, well, it's, I can make more profit or whatever the motivation, I don't know what the motivation is, but the thing is, if it's reward you want, if you want the reward, like, this has earned more money than, like, most things ever will. So even if you just want to think about it in terms of money, this still should be idolized, you could say. Like, this still should be, you know, you should want to think like these people, because this is all time, which is like, that's the best of the best of the best. You should want to aim at that, maybe. I don't know. There's an immense reward. If you want to be a billionaire, this is a way to do it. Because this was like this was an actual multi-billion-dollar franchise, wasn't it? I remember when I was growing up, there was like, even today, there's still everywhere. I see little Simba stickers and t-shirts everywhere. This was a huge deal. And that's not because, you know, they just made merch of it or something. It's because this was an artifact of attitude, and this was a worthy offering that the world needed, and it still needs. And if you want to get into more of why that is, I don't have time to explain it, but you need to go, if you haven't watched this in a while, I would encourage you to rewatch it and think about it, and you'll understand why. Especially if you watch it as an adult. If you haven't watched this since you were a kid, you need to watch it again as an adult, and you will understand what I'm talking about. Anyway, I know this is a movie, but it applies, I think, all the same. Oh wait, I didn't have my desktop open, did I? Oops. But I had my desktop open there. And I was doing all my fact checking. That's what you didn't need to see it. It's just Wikipedia. You don't need to see it anyway. But, you know, but I guess it takes time to do that, doesn't it? I guess that's why, you know, the thing now is that there's the temptation to do that quicker, which has a price. Maybe that's why this vibe stuff is becoming popular. I don't know. But, yeah. Remilex says, makes me wonder how long it will take for something to top The Lion King in a similar way. Well, that's a good question. I'm afraid that nothing will. That's what I'm most afraid of, is that nothing will. But I have hope that maybe in 10, 20 years' time, something will. I think it'll have to for civilization to endure. But I think it will happen. It has to. But I think it'll have to be when people I think it's because people need to have faith in that way for another project like that to top Lion King, I think. Because in the 90s, the faith in that was peak, wasn't it? People actually did have faith in animated films. But now and I'm not talking about animated films, but the attitude, the faith in the attitude that made hand animation viable, in doing things, delaying gratification, doing it the hard way. No one has faith in that now, which is why no one's doing it. And I think until that is the case, until faith is renewed in it, we will not see another Lion King. Until that happens. That's what I think, but that's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion. Smiley says, didn't break that record until a father swam an ocean to find his... Wait, what? Until a father swam an ocean to find his son. The soul of the world truly yearns for the good father, like Mufasa and Marlin. It does. I think you're catching on to what I'm noticing. I don't have time to do a full analysis of the movie, but you will start noticing that a lot of stuff that is popular but is not timeless like that doesn't have a character like Mufasa or something. Because I have noticed, I've been watching some older movies over the last few months. I rewatched Lord of the Rings with a friend, and I rewatched Lion King and Treasure Planet. And what I noticed they all have in common is that people 20 years later still remember them, and they all have a character that is like a positive father model. And I actually don't see that anymore, which is interesting. I haven't, like, when was the last time you saw a character like John Silver or Mufasa or what have you? I haven't seen a lot of them. Maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe not, but it's something I've noticed. Drone says vibe animation where robots grow. It's basically that. There's a first AI movie? Oh dear. Oh dear. Strawberry says, like Hayao Miyazaki once said, it's an insult to life itself. Yeah. I think that's why even Miyazaki, he's very much traditional. And he's been rewarded because a few of his movies have been like the best of all time in terms of like box office. If that's all, I mean, there's more to it than the box office, but if you just want to judge it on that, Miyazaki is a winner in that as well. And they still do hand draw everything at that studio, don't they? Like with paper, I'm pretty sure. At least I think that's how it is. I know that. But that's sort of the thing, is that with Miyazaki, it's the confidence in the tool. He's familiar with that, so he does it. It's not because he's looking for some new tool that's going to do it for him. And that's why he's him. That's why he's Miyazaki and no one else is. But yeah. Have I ever thought about using Vocaloid for my game? Not really. I want to get away with not using voices at all, if possible, just because doing good voice work is hard. I don't have confidence I can do it well, so I want to avoid using it. But yeah, Coesta says all my homies hate capital. Well, it's not capitalism. The one thing I've noticed is a lot of people blame capitalism, but capitalism is why, like, the Lion King wouldn't exist without capitalism. My stream, you guys, this would not exist without capitalism. Like, capitalism is not the problem. It's being misused, but it is not the problem. Any system can be used for good and for evil. It's not because it's bad, you know. It's just because, like, I just noticed a lot of people blame capitalism for it. Usually university students, and it's like, look, it's easy to blame it if you are, if you're young and whatever, like I am, but you shouldn't, like, you can use, like, it's a tool, capitalism. You can use it for good or for evil. And the Lion King fellows, they used it for good. So I don't think it's capitalism's fault. It's just, it's being misused. There's a certain attitude. If you want to, I don't know, I'd say there's a book about this that I thought was interesting. It's called, by Mark Weber, The Protestant Work Ethic and the Spirit of Capitalism. I would recommend checking that out. I think that's kind of where the origins of this whole idea of capitalism even came from. And I like the way that they view what capitalism is supposed to be for. But this is a very old book. It's from like hundreds of years ago. But I was quite touched by the synopsis of the book, and I thought, it seems to me like what the old Disney guys did before whatever they're doing now. But yeah. Mungo says corporate. I don't know what the difference is between corporatism and I'm not a philosopher yet. I'll have to look up if it's maybe corporatism is what I'm describing. But I don't know. I just don't think it's, I mean, hell, I need capitalism to live, so do you. So it's not capitalism. It's the people, it's certain people misusing it. So, yeah, anyway. Speaking of capital, thanks everyone for the super chats and the support so I can continue the adventure. I do have to get going, and I got to get back to editing so I can make more content for you and make some capital in the process, hopefully, so I can continue my quest. But yeah, I appreciate you guys joining me for another week. I appreciate that some of you were here like half an hour before I was, waiting so eagerly. I appreciate that. But yeah, but I'll be back next week, hopefully, with some more progress. And yeah, I know this video I'm working on is probably going to take a while, and I do appreciate your patience, but I am working on trying to get the website up as well, so that hopefully the wait is alleviated a bit. But until then, thanks for joining me for another progress report. I will see you guys next week for more. Bro fist. Yeah, I gotta do one of those. I haven't seen one of those in a while. We'll do a bro fist. Yo.